YouTube podcast world, what's good, y'all? Y'all already know the name, Pays and Plays podcast here. People been wondering, am I dropping something where I've been? Well, I'm fucking back. At least for this segment, we're gonna go off the first reactions to the Week 1 NFL football line. Schedules just dropped. They're still dropping. We'll talk about some of the games in the holiday too. I'm gonna share my screen so then I can just sit down and break down each game one by one right then and there. I'm not gonna use the phone like I usually would. I'm trying to test things out. And before we get into it, let's talk about that. Like, is it good to bet ahead of time, months ahead or whatever? Depending on if you like a number. I've done it and I've won and I've lost. That's the way the game goes. If you like that value number because you don't know if that number is going to go up or down, maybe that's a good thing for you. But oh no, we're glad to talk to football numbers again, right? Last time we was here, shout out to my man's Coach Will. He will be back later on during the season, of course. And I feel like that was a hell of a great segment. And we was talking about Super Bowl. I already know how that came out. But enough for all to talk with me about that. Expect some new things coming up this year, though. Just new creative ideas to keep content going. We'll try to do 3 to 4 videos a week. I know that's a lot, but I think I can make that manageable and make it happen. But we'll all find that out. Let's get right into it, though. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. This is what I like. Okay. So as y'all see, right? All these games from week 1, and then there's some other little games in between, and it's all the way down to Christmas, right? So let's just start from the bottom. I mean, from top. Of course, I didn't log in with it because when it comes to logging on a computer, you gotta have all your little location and all that shit. I don't want to do all that shit. That's why I got my phone to do all that. So week 1, first game, Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. Got at 2.5 KC. Um, I like it. I think that's a good line. If you're gonna go with KC. Listen, as much as I like the Ravens, I think the target with the Ravens is they are a regular season team. It just all depends on when they come to the playoffs, how what shit happens. Over under is 46.5. I got this going under. A sneaky under. Because I know both teams are gonna run the ball and both defenses are actually pretty good. I think firsthand 46.5, that's kind of spot on, but I like the under if you're liking that. All right, next game. Next game. We got Green Bay Packers. I'm looking at right here. Philadelphia Eagles +1.5 Green Bay. This game is in Brazil, so if you see September 6th, it's going to be on a Friday. I don't really know how to correlate with this type of game because it is an international game, and that's something that I'm not really ever really. I don't know. International games really go either way, except for Jacksonville because you're used to playing there. But I'll go with Green Bay Packers. No one expected my team, my Packers, to be as good as we were last year. I think this only keeps going up for Jordan Love. I like what they done in the offseason in the drive. Philly, I mean, listen, now they did get the most underrated pick they got. Pickup was probably Devin White coming from Tampa. He does help with the run game. And also he's a good coverage linebacker. I 48.5. Shit. I mean, bro, these are soccer fields, and I don't know. Truly don't know, but +1.5. I mean, you're gonna make it a neutral game. That kind of makes sense because I think if it was at Philly, we're talking 2.5, maybe 3.5. Now, this one is interesting. I see Tennessee Titans is at +4.5 against the Bears, -4.5. So the hype is kind of already here for Caleb Williams, I'm seeing. And it's kind of juiced up as you see the -4.5. Let me see. Under is 43.5, over under. I think that's about right. With the Titans, though, I think their approach is a little different with Will Levis. They obviously want to pass the ball a little bit more, of course. But looking at it though, and looking at this number, first initial thought, I would go Titans to cover, Bears to win, +4.5. And then you're talking the Bears haven't been a 4.5 favorite. I don't think they were 4.5 favorite even last season. When I got them against the Falcons, I believe they were 2.5. You're pretty much banking on the first start for Caleb Williams, and I hope the guy does successful, but 4.5 first game. That's kind of steep, bro. I'm just gonna be honest on that one. Next one, we'll go right into it. Pittsburgh Steelers, Atlanta Falcons, Steelers +3. I got Steelers to win the cover first initial thought. Uh, Artie Smith, the previous head coach for the Falcons is the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. You do think he kind of knows how to play against these guys other than Kirk Cousins, right? And the new draft picks they got. Other than that, right? He knows his team. And what if I've always said when somebody knows a team, they kind of know what they're capable of. He knows about Kyle Pitts. He knows about Bijan Robinson. I think even though he's an offensive coordinator, he's going to pass that along to Mike Tomlin. And look, you can never sleep on Pittsburgh, bro. So you give me Pittsburgh plus money. I know it's going to be either Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, but you also got to hope TJ Watt is healthy, right? Because if TJ Watt is healthy, I think they win that game based off him. Because every time he does not play, you realize this team just does not win outright at all. Next one, we're going to get right into it. Jacksonville, and you can see the lines of changes as I'm looking at it. Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, Jaguars +3.5. I got Miami -3.5. That's the first impression. I will wait on this one because of I think Miami, if it goes down to 2.5, from what we're seeing right now, it's kind of getting juiced to Jacksonville. But if you can give me a 2.5, 1.5 week one matchup, ooh, I think that will be a great pickup to pick the Fins. I mean, the main line isn't bad right now. Over and under 49.5. Shit. It's like you can't go under with Miami games, but Jacksonville would be the one that I wonder if they even score. Let's say if they score 17, 20 points. If Miami drops 35 on them, that's just kind of how you got to look at it. Then I think the over hits. 49.5, though. That I want to say that might be the long. We'll check, but I think that may be the largest over under total for week one. We'll check. We'll check. Let's go into it though. Did I skip a game? Wait, yo, that's crazy. So if y'all see it, it looked like they just shuffled all these games around. Okay, so I want to talk about this game. I did see this first thing I saw. New England Patriots +7.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm almost quick to trigger to pull the Patriots at +7.5. And it's because respectfully, I love the Bengals. Now, if you were fucking with me last year, it was a time where the Bengals were winning 3-4 weeks in a row, and I was picking Cincinnati, and they were winning. Now, 7.5, I don't know because of numerous things. For one, Joe Burrow, we don't even know if his wrist surgery or injury is healed up. Because we're still hearing him in reports talking about his wrist is kind of, it's not 100%. So that's already a concern for me. You lost pieces on the defense. You lost DJ Reader to the Lions, which a lot of people won't talk about that, but I think that's the most underrated pickup for the Lions, and that's a big loss for the Bengals. Sam Hubbard now is requesting a trade. I don't really know. It's really the defense for the Bengals that I will have questions on, but they are playing a rookie quarterback, right? And it's Drake May. And I think Drake May wouldn't be a bad quarterback for the Patriots. I know everyone's going to be thinking, can he be the next Tom Brady? And, the one thing I did like about him was when he mentioned, hey, I'm not Tom Brady. I want to be Drake May. And I think that's also a hell of an approach. Over under, though, 42.5. I will go under. Just this first impression. But I definitely like +7.5 New England. And it's crazy that a lot of people are juiced up to Cincinnati at the -7.5 right now. I know it's just the first lines that's just dropped, but if it goes up to 8, 8.5, and before kickoff, who knows? Because the shit changes every other game, every other week. From now on until September, lines are going to be shifting left and right. If it goes up to 8.5, 9, I probably have to pull the trigger on the Patriots. I know a lot of these games we're going to be judging off what's on paper, and that's kind of how you got to look at it with some of these games. Now, this is an interesting game right here. Houston Texans back at Indianapolis to play the Colts. Colts +1.5. I would love Texans in this matchup. I know AR5 is going to be back. And Anthony Richardson, when he played very fucking well. However, I do think the Texans just rejuvenated their whole entire team. D'Amico Ryans, this is the second year around. And give credit to Shane Steichen. Let's give him some credit. He was very for a first year coach for the Colts, I don't think no one expected the Colts to even flirt with possibly win the AFC North. But obviously it went down to the last game, and of course a fourth down drop by Gotson. His asses should be no longer there, I'm sure. But Houston, Texas, man, yeah. It's the fact with I was saying, you try to judge some of this with on paper additions, and you get Danielle Hunter on defense. We're going to talk about the offense in a minute, but you get Danielle Hunter. That's a big piece. Your secondary is still intact. Will Anderson coming off Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign. He's going to look to bounce back in the sophomore year as well. I mean, the linebackers is pretty solid. And then you can go on the offensive side. The fact that they got Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins proved to look like he could have been a number one receiver, but obviously we know in this situation he'll probably be a number two receiver. Tank Dell will be back. Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon in that lineup with Pierce. Come on, man. How can you really, really go against the Houston team over under 47.5? That's about right, honestly. Because I do remember when the Colts played Texas when they had AR in there. AR did go crazy. And I think that over did hit. So kind of, it's going to be a hell of a good game, man. This is definitely a game that I might plan on be watching it for real. Next game. Okay, here we go. We got Carolina Panthers traveling to Louisiana to take on New Orleans. The Saints. Saints minus 4.5. Initial thought is going to be Panthers to cover 4.5. I still think New Orleans will win. And new head coach, with the Panthers, again, I think this guy will turn around Bryce Young. Everyone wonder about Bryce Young. I don't think he's a bust off rip. Watch all of last season, and there's some times where you're like, yo, this guy can ball. And then there's times where you're like, what the fuck is he doing, right? But I was a rookie. Think about it, though. He had no receivers. Adam Thielen is your best receiver, bro. And Thielen is, 34, 30-something years old at this point? Come on, man. The offensive line was a problem. The running game was a problem. Now, the defense, you can argue, was top 5. Look at the numbers. Top 5, top 10 defense, but they didn't have no offense production. Now you got a new head coach who came in, and the guy, we seen what he did with Tampa with Baker Mayfield, and we see Baker had a whole resurgence. So if we can see a little bit of that in Bryce Young, I think they will be pretty good this season. They'll at least be better than one in what? They won, 1 game, 2 games last year? They'll at least double that. At least 4 or 5 games, I think they should at least win. You getting Jordan Brooks at the running back spot. You getting Xavier Legette, the other receiver from South Carolina, which that is a very good one. You actually got Deontay Johnson. You kind of got some players to help Bryce Young out, and that's all you really need, man. You need a little support system because the guy can't do it all, bro. But the first thing I see is this has to be the lowest total of the whole week 1, right? This is my first thought, but 39.5? Jeez. I think this game will probably go over. It could be a 23-20 game, and you can hit the over, and Carolina can cover the plus 4.5. Just initial thoughts once again. I won't be betting this game, but if the line goes up more to maybe Carolina plus 6, plus 7, we might have to make a decision at that point. Let's see. Next one. Okay, here we go. Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills. Plus 7 Arizona Cardinals. How can I really describe this game, man? This is his first initial thoughts. Plus 7 Cardinals. I mean, the plus 7 is interesting, right? Because you can even tease that, add extra 6-7 points and make a 13-14 point teaser spread, whatever. I just don't know what Buffalo, because they lost so many pieces, man. They lost so many pieces. You lose your whole entire receiver core. Now, I did like who they did get, though. I like how they got Keon Coleman. I like some of the other acquisitions they got. They got some new rookies. They got rookies and they got some vets mixed in it. This is a whole new receiver core. The defense, though, is really going to be my concern. With, and this is not maybe the first game, but your secondary is going to be different. I don't think Hyde is there. I don't think Poyer is there anymore. You don't have Tre'Davious White anymore. I mean, you lost a lot of pieces in that defensive spot. So, and with the Cardinals, they're pretty much going to be relying on Marvin Harrison and he's a rookie, and I think he can be an impact rookie right away. But that's probably going to be the one player they're going to have to be circling around. McBride is a solid tight end. James Conner is really okay. So it's really the defense, the run defense for the Bills. I will wonder because James Conner can go off. So +7, and you know what? The Cardinals' defense was getting better. And what Gannon was doing, I think it was working. You don't beat Philly, who made a Super Bowl a year ago and made the playoffs that same year. You don't beat them, and they were what? I think they were damn near 14-point underdogs. You don't just do that. And I think Kyler Murray, we'll see him run around. Bro, we'll see a lot of that. I think with this game. Fuck it. Cardinals +7 is my first impression of this game. I like the dogs. And people ask me, why do I like the dogs? I mean, come on now. Why don't I like the dogs? I like value, bro. I like teams that can be slept on. This one right here, though, Minnesota Vikings, New York Giants, Vikings -1.5. Or you could pick them on a money line, both 108. Vikings, let's see. So you're relying on possibly J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback. If J.J. McCarthy is your quarterback, this could be an interesting game. But we don't know if it's Sam Darnold. I'm not trusting Sam Darnold against anybody. So I would take the Giants. I think Daniel Jones has to step up. The offensive line has gotten better. I do believe the secondary has also gotten better, and Kayvon Thibodeaux stepped up drastically. I mean, if you remember last season, it was a time where he kind of faded off, and then all of a sudden, towards the end of the year, he kind of got his flow in. Listen, Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeaux, give me 1 and 2 if you redo the drive. Give me them at 1 and 2. Trayvon Walker probably goes to 3 with the Giants, but that's just how I look at it. Their defense is good. It's just about the offensive line with the Vikings. I have questions with that. But I mean, if you put for JJ McCarthy, and people ask me, what do I think about success? In Michigan, I thought he was okay. I thought he was a plug-and-play quarterback that had experience. He had Jim Harbaugh under his belt, who is an NFL coach, we know. I thought, he didn't have to do too much. However, though, I think that Rose Bowl playoff game against Alabama, we seen Trey Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry both get drafted in the first 2 rounds. He played against, those two guys, and I think that's what probably made his draft stock go up because we saw some hell of a good plays out of JJ that game. You'll have and JJ will have JJ as in Justin Jefferson. You got Addison. I mean, they got some players on that offense. Don't get it wrong. They got a right coach in O'Connell, who is a quarterback. Some of these coaches people don't know about. O'Connell was a quarterback at San Diego State, and I remember him being on the Belichick. And I know he learned a little bit from that. So as a quarterback, though, I think it is kind of easy to help him out. But like I said, if it's Sam Darnold, I won't pick the Vikings at all. I'll pick the Giants. And that's just based off of who's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, let's see. Next one. Okay. Las Vegas Raiders against the Los Angeles Chargers. Both main head coach debuts. You already know what it is, man. Coach Antonio Pierce, Coach Jim Harbaugh. This is going to be a hell of a game because this Raiders, listen, when the Raiders go to LA, it's going to be Raiders fans there. This is not going to be a home field game for the Chargers. So I think Jim Harbaugh's already in that mindset thinking this isn't a regular game because if it's going to be the Chargers or the Rams, best believe the Vatos is going out there to support the Raiders, bro. I mean, that's just how that goes. First initial thought, though, give me the Chargers to win and cover. -3, I think that's a good one. Even -154 on the money line isn't bad, but give me the -3 with the Chargers. I think Harbaugh is going to change that whole DNA of that team. No more soft shit on the defensive side of the ball. We expect Herbert to probably have maybe top 5 quarterback numbers this year. Yes, I'm saying it because if you guys remember the last time Harbaugh came in from Stanford and went to San Francisco, Alex Smith was on the verge of being a bust, which to most people, they think he still is a bust. But Jim Harbaugh got 2, 3 good years out of him, traded him away. They got a second round pick and got kind of. I mean, listen, Harbaugh knows how to coach. I just think sometimes it's the ego factor because, well, I'm Jim Harbaugh. And when you're in college, you can run shit everything your way compared to the NFL where you have somewhat of a say, but you don't have complete control of it. But I expect Chargers to do this thing. When the Chargers play the Raiders, Justin Herbert always had a hell of a good game. I expect a good game. Now it is concerning that there is new receivers. You don't have Keenan Allen anymore. But you know, so I mean, so Harbaugh's going to find out, man. They're going to run the ball. I expect a lot of running the ball. I expect this team to be pretty good. I think I know what Jim Harbaugh's going to do, and yeah, man, -3 with the Raiders too. It's really the quarterback spot, right? Gardner Minshew. Listen, I respect what Minshew has been doing. Right, he came in and filled in for AR with the Colts, and damn near took him to the playoffs. Right, I don't think no one would have expected that with Gardner Minshew. But now he has a little bit more of an expectation because now he's a starter quarterback. This season for him can make or break him because it's not like Quentin Ewers and Shador Sanders right there looking. And speaking of Sanders, I do believe if the Raiders had that pick and want to get Shador Sanders, I don't think Deion's saying that's not happening. I think he's going to probably agree with that. However, we also know who's in that division as well. It's actually a good little segment I'm doing, man. And as y'all see, man, the lines are changing right now as I'm talking to, so you can see how everything works, man. This is why I say you have to sometimes place your bets when you want to place them because you never know. All right, Broncos, Seahawks. Okay, Broncos plus 4.5. Over under 42.5. Okay. So initial thought, I'm gonna say Seattle. And I know there's a new head coach in Seattle. You got McDonald, the former Michigan defensive coordinator, John Harbaugh, defensive coordinator in Baltimore. But this team is still intact. However, that defense just needs to be fucking improved and revamped. And I think from what I've seen in the draft, them getting Byron Murphy, who I thought was like the best interior lineman, I thought the Lions should have been gutsy and trade up and got him. You would have had him and DJ Reader. But now you got this guy with Leonard Williams. That's going to be a problem because a lot of times this defense was so bad to a degree. Sometimes the defense gets ran on bad, and then the pass defense is kind of bad. But I think this will both correlate with the interior because if you can make some noise in that interior, it's going to make it harder for your quarterbacks to throw the ball. And with Broncos, it looked like I'm going to assume we're going to have Bo Nix as their quarterback week 1, rookie quarterback going into Seattle. And we know how Seattle atmosphere is. It's crazy. I honestly want to go to a Seahawks game this year in Seattle. I actually would think that would be a great one. But yeah, initial thought, I would go with Seattle -4.5. Expectation with Seattle, I mean, probably third best team in the division. Still, I mean, the West is going to be tough because I think the Cardinals not going to be a slouch as well. Now, this game we're going to talk about this one: Dallas Cowboys at Cleveland Browns. Cowboys -1.5. Over under 43.5. Now, this game is important to some people because this is the first game of seeing Tom Brady as a broadcaster, as an analyst. And I'm kind of curious to watch this game just to hear how he talks the game and and break it down. If I see something like that, bro, I'm going to be really interested. That's like when I watched, if some people didn't watch the NFL draft, some people probably did, but I watched the version when it was the ESPN3 when it had Pat McAfee. And when you hear Belichick, which by the way, I think Belichick is about to retire, bro. I've never seen him so happy. I mean, as far as the press, we never seen him this happy and this outgoing. And he was just talking X's and O's, bro. And I'm sitting there just watching and like, yo, this guy is just picking apart shit. Kind of like when John Gruden was on the NFL, a little analyst thing when he was in ESPN, kind of sort of. But anyway, that's enough for all of that. First impression, Browns. Browns on the money line. I think the test with this one would be the Cowboys' offensive line is fairly new and fairly young. So, what are you going to do against the Browns, which we know Myles Garrett is coming for you? Za'Darius Smith is coming for you. There's going to be some blitzes here and there. You think Jim Schwartz? Come on, man. Jim Schwartz. And it's crazy. Jim Schwartz hasn't got a head coaching opportunity since he left the Lions. With shout out to my old head Dante, one thing he has said though, no Lions coach has ex-Lions coach has had another head coaching job. I think if the Browns are at least 10-7 and their defense is still top 5, top 3, you have to consider this guy as a coach. But I mean, I'm not really a fan of Dallas, bro. I mean, this team to me every year, even last season, I thought this team could beat my Packers, right? We were a young team. I did not expect Jordan Love to do what he did. A lot of the help was with Aaron Jones as well. But I mean, this is what I'm saying, man. It's a young offensive line against a veteran defensive line, and we're gonna really see who's gonna pan it out. We know the whole 11 players for on the defense for Cleveland Browns to ball out. You think Denzel Ward won't probably be checking CeeDee Lamb? You think Newsom wouldn't be checking the number 2 receiver? It's just things like that. It's really up to Dak and their run game too, right? Because I mean, you're bringing back Ezekiel Elliott, but are we getting the same Ezekiel Elliott when he was with Dallas last time? No, I think he was kind of mid with the Patriots. And then they got what? Deuce Vaughn, the little 5'7" guy that's like a Darren Sproles type. I don't know, but like I said, first impression though, give me Cleveland to win on the money line. I don't like it at -104. If it hits the plus though, I'm definitely on it. Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Commanders +4.5, over under 40.5. A lot of it's already juiced up the Commanders. And this is a game I'm going to stay away from. There's always an uncertainty in week 1. But when it comes to this one, we don't know shit. Jayden Daniels is a quarterback now. He's the rookie quarterback. And honestly, can I be honest with you? Jayden Daniels was a guy that I remember watching him at Arizona State with Herm Edwards. And by the way, Herm Edwards got fucked out of that job. Let's be real about Arizona State. He got fucked out of that job. This guy has Trey Palmer, Jayden Daniels. I mean, these guys are actually solid NFL. Well, Jayden Daniels we'll see, but Trey Palmer for sure. You had Brandon Ayuk on that team. Come on, bro. He only got fired within, 2 years? I think when it comes to college football, NFL is different, but college football, at least 4 or 5 years, bro, to get everything you want kind of in place. But anyway, we just don't know. Dan Quinn is a good coordinator. And actually, speaking of that, that's also the problem for that Cowboys game. There's a new defensive coordinator, so we don't know how that's going to turn out. But Commanders, it's just a lot of new everything, right? But they had made some great pieces. You got Brian Robinson Jr., but also you got Austin Ekeler, who could be your third down back, your receiving back. I mean, they got players. I don't know how the chemistry is going to turn out. And with Tampa, I mean, I feel like if you Todd Bowles, you should give the rookie quarterback a hell of a time. This is his first start. It's at your home field. Baker Mayfield, we did saw a resurgence. He deserved that money. He deserves it. And hell, he was a drive away from beating the Lions possibly if he didn't throw an interception. And Todd Bowles called that timeout at the end. They probably would have had a shot. Mike Evans, of course, he deserved his money. So it's just really the defense, right? And this is the unpopular opinion, but if you gave me Lamonte David or Devin White, I'm going Devin White. And they went Lamonte David, and White pretty much had to leave. I mean, I'm going with Tampa to win. 4.5, though, I don't fucking know, bro. I don't even know, man. This shit's crazy. All right, now these 2 games here, we're going to talk about this one. Detroit Lions, LA Rams. This is going to be week 1, Sunday night football. I don't think a week 1 Sunday night football game has ever happened in Detroit because it's always in Dallas for some real reason. And listen, the city will go crazy. Stafford is back again after playing them in the playoffs. 3.5. Last game, the Rams did cover. I mean, they lost, but they did cover. 3.5. I don't like it. If you're gonna pick Lions, I don't like Lions at 3.5. Now, money line minus 166, that's not bad. Over under 52.5. Oh, that's going under, bro. That has to go under. That's really high to be a Lions game. Even the Rams don't score that much. That's a lot of points. And I see why it's juiced to the under a lot. I would say under 52.5 would probably be my best first impression of looking at this. But the Lions, let's talk about both teams. We might as well. The Rams, I like what they did in draft, right? They get Verse from Florida State. They get Blake Corum with Kerryon Williams. That works. We already know what Puka does. We already know what Cooper Kupp does. We know that. Sean McVay is a good coach. You look at the Lions, the 3 guys they paid this year fully deserves it. Fully deserve it. Jared Goff deserved that contract he got, right? Penei Sewell deserved that contract. St. Brown deserved that contract. Definitely deserved it. You look at the draft picks the Lions did. Look, getting Trey Arnold, great pick. The best hands in the draft, we will say, the best hands compared to his teammate. And I think Kool-Aid should have been a first-round pick, but you broke your bone in your foot and you still running 4.7. That's a red flag to some people. But when you had a broken foot and still running 4.7, if you would have had it healed up, we're probably talking 4.5, 4.4 with Kool-Aid. Got him in the second round for the Saints. That's a steal. But anyway, Lions depth was pretty good. They pretty much focused on let's get our secondary together. First 2 picks went secondary. I liked it. Then they went offensive tackle eventually. They got a 6'7", 6'8" guy from Canada. That, I mean, if you let him sit there for a year or two, and let's say, for instance, you say, hey, Taylor Deckers moved to the inside to the interior. I do think the guard spot might be a problem because a couple guys did leave to get paid. I think Jackson left to go to the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. So I do see guard problem maybe a problem for the Lions. But first impressions, though, I will go under 52.5 because that is a lot of points. And it's a prime time under. We're going to stick to the prime time unders in that one. So 52.5, that would be my best initial first bet. Just saying. All right. Last one for week 1. Then we'll talk about the other little games that's going on. New York Jets at San Francisco 49ers. Jets plus 6.5. Over under 45.5. I like it. I mean, I'm greedy to a degree, so I would like it if it was plus 7. 49ers, I mean, we know what their offense is going to do. It's just the defense, bro. The defense got bullied. They got bullied the last, 2 games, 3 games, to be honest with you. The Packers bullied you on a run game. The Lions bullied you in the run game. And the Chiefs, when it mattered, they was able to move the ball on you. I just, with the Jets, you're pretty much banking on A-Rod to come back 100% healthy. But the problem I'm going to have is their defense is going to be good. So I would say 45.5 going under will be the better one because both defenses are good. It's just that the offensive line, can they hold up against the Niners? Everyone's talking about, Bosa, which I think he kind of went MIA in the Super Bowl, unpopular opinion. I do believe that. But Chase Young, they're giving him a chance again. And I haven't seen shit for Chase Young, honestly, since his rookie year. Granted, I know he's been hurt, but after like the first game with the Niners, he didn't do shit after that. So my first impression, I would say Jets covered a plus 6.5. If it goes to 7, great. I would probably take that. But 45.5 would be hardly be the first initial pick that I would probably do. And that's the end for week 1. So that's September 8th. We're going to look at some of the other games that I'm seeing on the screen right here. So Miami Dolphins, I take it this is a Monday night game, September 12th. I'm going to check my phone to check the calendar so I can make sure I'm not tripping. So September 12th should be, I believe that's a Monday. Let me go to the month of September. No, September 12th. So that's a Thursday night game. Okay, Thursday night football game. Huh. Miami Dolphins. Huh. And it's a pick 'em. If you can get it now, I say under 51.5 for some odd reason. But yeah, I can't see Miami just blowing them off the fucking field because it's what I've been saying with the Bills. Who's their secondary? I'm starting to think about it. I don't even know. I can't name one person. So that's what I would have to worry about. You got Waddle, you got Hill, and OBJ. I think OBJ got overpaid with the Ravens, but to be a number 3 receiver for Miami, I think they can make that happen. Bro, they may whoop their ass, bro. I don't know. I need to see how the first week pans out, but under 51 and a half, that's a lot of points, and that's a Thursday night game. So hit how I'm saying the prime time unders was a thing all last season. I mean, first, like I'm saying, 51 and a half, you get it now because game time, we're probably looking at what, maybe 47 to 49, maybe, depending on how week one sometimes turns out. You'll always have to kind of look into that because week one will always be, after week one, you expect overreactions for week two, right? Because there's going to be a favorite that loses week one that shouldn't probably lose week one. And there's there's an underdog that's going to win week one that shouldn't even win week one. Y'all know how this goes. But I will say, though, there's no huge numbers other than Patriots plus 7.5. That and the Cardinals are the two largest spreads for week one. When last season we had Texans at 9. I mean, we had certain numbers that were higher than 7 points last season, which is kind of odd. But I think the bookmakers are very close on with some of these games, I will admit. So you got that one. So then Sunday would be the 15th. Yep. So you have the Bengals, Chiefs, -4.5 Chiefs. This is a game when I say Cincinnati will cover, but Chiefs win because how many times have I said that Chiefs don't cover these type of spreads? 1 to 2.5, 3. I can say yes, they will cover those type of games, but 4.5, you're pretty much banking they have to win by 6 points. That's just my ideal mindset. Over under 48.5. I'll go under. I just don't know about Joe Burrow and his wrists because there's still concerns about his wrist, and I don't really know how you can fuck with it. October 6th, okay. This random games we're talking about. Jets, Vikings. But this all goes on to what I'm saying. If JJ McCarthy plays, maybe that number goes up a little bit more. But if it's Sam Darnold, I mean, I would take the Jets. I'm fading Sam Darnold, bro. How can I trust this guy? Jacksonville Jaguars, Chicago Bears. Okay, this is the London game. Because the time, 9:30 alone is how I kind of figure. Jaguars, Bears. Jaguars, because they obviously know how to play in London. They play 2 times a year in London. So I guess my initial thought would be Jaguars. I mean, not a bad price either or. If you get on the main line or you get on the spread, I don't think it's bad prices for either or. And let's see. So there's other. Okay. So then the next week they play again, but they play New England plus 6.5. Jesus, I wouldn't dare to pick the Jaguars at -6.5. I just wouldn't dare because these games are all over the place. Because I've watched them, I've betted them, and these games are all over the place, bro. So this is another game that's in London. Fuck it, 6.5 Patriots. Give me the plus 6.5. That's my initial first thought. Kansas City Chiefs, 49ers rematch, Super Bowl rematch. Wow, so you give me KC at plus 100? I would definitely take that. If I mean, bro, because they're pretty much saying because they're playing that San Fran, right? But it's a plus 1.5. I would definitely go KC. Yeah, I would definitely go KC. Whenever you see plus money for Kansas City, you need to find that and take that shit now. And I know it's ahead of time, and I'm just talking about it, but anytime you see Kansas City plus money, bro, you will be a fool not to take that. I'm just saying. October 27th, we're gonna have the Cowboys, 49ers. 49ers plus 4.5, -4.5. Bro, every time the Cowboys go to 49ers, they get blew out. I will take the 49ers. It's my first impression. Because I haven't figured that they'll lose this game and then blow them out, right? Chargers. I'm not Chargers, I'm tripping. Giants, Panthers. This is the game in Germany, right? Okay, this is the game in Germany. First impression, I would say New York. That ball, genius. And you know the thing is, don't sleep on Malik Neighbors. That's the one thing they had a problem with was getting receivers. So they handled the corner problems and they handled the receiver problems. I do think this team is better. The only thing questionable with the Giants would be the running game. And the only thing questionable with the Panthers would be Bryce Young because he struggled, but I feel like he's going to have a lot of room for improvement this year. Let's see. What else do we have? Let's finish the last few games I'm looking at. Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, November 17th. This is a game where the Bills will probably win. But Kansas City don't care about the regular season, bro. That's just how I look at some of these games to a degree. 46 and a half. I say goes under 46 and a half. Kansas City against, so this is the Christmas games. That's going to be on Netflix. Yeah, Netflix games. That's crazy. So you're going to need, if you don't have cable, you need to get a digital antenna or something because you're going to need games for NBC, Fox, CBS, Peacock, Amazon, unless you're on streaming. I'm not going to say where, but unless you're streaming, you're going to need all of these type of games, man. Netflix now, 6.5 Pittsburgh. It's at Pittsburgh. I would say Pittsburgh to cover, but I think Kansas City would still win. But Kansas City lost the last Christmas game, right? Because it was the Raiders. So who knows? This is a game where they might slip up and lose, but to them, it wouldn't hurt them that much anyway. And then let's see, Baltimore Ravens, Houston Texans, right? This is the last one that I'm seeing currently. And Baltimore Ravens, 2.5. I mean, they've been having their number, even with Stroud. They've been having their number. Even the years when it was Deshaun Watson, I remember picking them 1.5 against the Texans, and Lamar Jackson blows them off the field. Initial thought, I mean, 45.5. That's about right. Because Lamar Jackson did crow crazy last Christmas. That's about right. 45.5. That's because that could be a 26-20 game. Right? Yeah. I mean, this kind of like how I can project it seeing. Let's see if there's any more games since I've mentioned. Is this every game that I've seen? Is this every game? Okay, this is every game. Okay, this is every game, man. So this is every game for week 1, first reactions. I hope you guys kind of like how I broke it down. This is only the beginning. All right, this is currently May 15th. So we'll have another two months of just, you got all the OTAs and everything will be going down. So we'll have a lot of stuff planned up. College football is coming up in August. And with basketball, I haven't really been too interested in basketball since college basketball, honestly. So NBA should be wrapping up after this month. So you guys comment your favorite teams. Comment your favorite, what you think about the first impressions of the first week 1 lines. I want some comments, y'all. I think this channel can definitely be improved. And I just want us to know that we are going to win money because that's what we've been doing all this time. So hit the like button, subscribe, pass the word around, and y'all already know, be safe. Let's get this money.